Welcome back, folks. It's your boy back in the house at RPG Elite, the place where we put the RP back in the RPG. And the way that I do that is by giving you tools, tips, tutorials, and real talk about the tabletop RPG space and culture. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's video, I want to go ahead and give you a product highlight. Haven't done one of those in a while. With my favorite GM screen, which I'm still using to this day. And then we'll get straight into being a Christian in the tabletop RPG community and how I get treated by my own people, the church. I'm going to explain a whole lot of things on the other side of this product highlight. So let's get it started. Hey everyone, our product highlight today is the Master's Tome GM screen from Strategem. You can organize your campaign with this fully agnostic, customizable GM screen. It's compatible with any tabletop role-playing game and is a GM essential. It will give you 8 convenient pockets to use. It fits 8.5 by 11 paper, so you can go to any copy store, print your notes, your tables, your lore, your art, and you can just slide them right in. The notes and tables are going to be for you as the GM, and that will go on the inside, while the other stuff like your art or your lore or anything else, miscellaneous stuff, your players can see because it also has 4 more on the outside. Now, it automatically comes with these little art pieces here with the little gem looking thing right there that comes with it. But another thing that you can do with this GM screen is you can take notes directly on the vinyl if you need to. It has templates that it automatically comes with. You simply wipe it away, comes with a marker, comes with an eraser that's on that marker. The thing you got to be careful of is just make sure you don't leave that stuff on overnight or leave it on until the next session, God forbid, because it'll be a little hard getting that stuff off. So just make sure you just wipe it off when you don't need it anymore, and preferably before your session ends. Now it stands 11.5 inches tall. It's over 3 feet wide, and then it folds down to just 1/2 inch thick. So it is very, very portable, very sturdy. Also, it's made of some really sturdy cardboard. So you can travel with this thing just about anywhere. Got a couple things to keep in mind though if you're going to grab one of these. Now the first thing you got to keep in mind is that when you open and close this thing, it's made of a hard vinyl. So since it's made of a hard vinyl, you have to be careful about the creases here. Let me show you a little bit of what's happened with mine. In the middle, I don't know if you guys can see that in the middle right there, how it's torn away, right? All right. That was because the brother was folding and closing that thing way too fast. Just put a, closing up, blip. Okay, so if you open and close it slowly, then this thing will last for a very long time. And even with my boo-boo on it, right? I've had this thing since 2018 and it is still good to go. And technically, you can kind of repair that with your little home repair. You know how you do. You get some tape and you put it on there and you'll be good to go. So if you get some strong tape and you put it on there, since it's hard vinyl, man, this thing is going to last for a while. Now, the second thing you got to be careful of is when you put your inserts in. Right here, I don't know if you can see this, but right here, you see this lip of the plastic where your insert goes in between the vinyl and the plastic. Don't pull that out too far. If you pull it out too far, these edges right here, they're just glued on. So what's going to happen is if you pull it out too far, guess what? It's going to break. So just make sure that you just get enough room in there for the insert and it slides in very easily. Now, I haven't had any problems with that. All of mine are still connected and good to go on there. So this was a dream for me. And believe it or not, the price is still the same when I bought it. Like I said, I bought this one in 2018, and this is still good to go. Use it for my virtual tabletops. I just have it right next to me on my desk. It's all, I just unfold it, have all my charts and tables right there. All I have to do is look to the side real quick and then look back to my screen. A lot faster than having all that information and trying to click on stuff inside your virtual tabletop. So what you have to do if you are in the market for one of these, go ahead. I have a link in the description below, my little affiliate link, y'all. Click on that down below and you can go and grab yours over on Amazon right now. You'll thank me later. Last month, I started a new series, and I have a lot of series on the channel, whether it be Gamma World, or whether it be for RPG Elite Philosophy, or whether it be for Top Secret, or other things that I have on the channel. I have a lot of different playlists that are series, and I started a new one last month. And that series basically takes a look at being a Christian in the tabletop RPG community. And last month, I put up this thumbnail to explain how I am treated as a Christian that's unabashed in his faith. I put it out there and let people know how I've been treated over the years as a Christian in tabletop RPGs. Well, as a result of that, we had a couple things happen. The first one is that there was an individual who 12 minutes after that video posted, decided to get online and let me know that they were leaving. And then decided to say that this is nothing but playing the victim kind of thing, right? And I'm going to myself, well, you didn't watch the video. And I knew you didn't watch the video. And the reason why I know is, number one, what you said in that comment is clear that you didn't watch the video, because you would not have said that if you did watch the video. But instead, you narcissistically let everybody know that you were leaving as if I care. I don't care. I don't know you. So I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that, like, listen, people come and go from YouTube channels all the time as far as subscribers. Everybody loses subscribers on every video and whatever. It's just the way that it is. People's interests change or whatever. And you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So you announcing that you're leaving, well, then leave. What are you announcing it for? I don't know you, don't want to at this point, since you're saying all this kind of stuff. And the fact that the video was 22 minutes long. So how in the world, 12 minutes after the video posted, you watched the whole thing? I mean, unless you were just sitting there at the computer waiting for my video to drop right at the time and then watched it double time, which we know that did not happen. This is a person who had to make a comment and didn't watch the video. But there were a lot of people who didn't make any comments, but left in droves. As a matter of fact, that was the biggest hit of the loss of subscribers that I have had on this channel. And I predicted it. I predicted it to one of my elite friends out there, and I did it to my wife before I even talked to him. We were on the phone, it was the Saturday before, and I told him what the video was going to be about. And I also said, listen, I know you guys don't see the exact number, right? But I see the exact number. So you guys see 13.5, 13.6, which is basically what it's at right now. And I said, you want to know something? I want you to see this drop from 13.6 to 13.5. Now, I was at 13.6 and it was near the halfway point, somewhere up there. But I knew I was going to lose a whole bunch of subscribers, and I did. Now, you would think that after that, I might think, twice about doing those kinds of videos. People don't like those. Okay, well then you can leave, because this is part of my agenda. And most of you guys know I have an agenda. I've said it 5 million times on this channel, and I'm going to continue to do so. So this is the way that it is. Now, you also have options of just not watching the video. There's that option. But just because it makes you feel uncomfortable because you're not grown enough to have, these kind of discussions, or exchanges in this medium, I mean, that's not my problem. That would be your problem, apparently. Now, on the flip side of that, just to point it out, you also can go to the comments and you see a guy who is he said he was an atheist, and he says, shoot, I'm an atheist and I love this video. So then there's that. That's an individual that's grown. He's an adult. He can handle adult topics like this. All the rest cannot. They can't tolerate it. And that wouldn't be my problem. That's what happened as a result of my last video. And I'm going to continue with the series. Will I lose subscribers as a result? Probably. I'll still keep doing this because, again, I have an agenda. I'm not off of that. I'm not getting off of that. Okay, if there's one thing that will not change, is my agenda and this channel. So we're going to continue with part 2 today, but I feel that it is important to lay out the perspectives that I'm coming from so that you know why I am doing this series or why I'm talking about it the way I'm talking about it. Generally, there are 2 main perspectives that I'm coming from, with the major one being from a personal perspective. These are my experiences and my observations. Also, though, no less important because it is directly tied to it, you cannot separate it, is the Christian perspective. Because, okay, I never made a hoopla and said, went around announcing that I'm a Christian or whatever. Most of y'all figured that out. I ain't never said a word about that until this series. All right, those are the 2 main perspectives I'm coming from. So I'm going to be using some terms from, that perspective. You guys will know. I don't come to the camera thinking, man, everybody just don't know nothing. Okay, on some things I have to lay some groundwork, like in this video, but after that, then we can go on and get into the meat of it. But understand, those 2 perspectives are the 2 perspectives I am coming from, and they are inextricably tied together, which means me personally and Christian, because let me tell you something. If your faith is not public, then you probably have to do some evaluating, because a faith should be who you are. It's not just something you believe, because what you believe, folks, is who you are. It's how you go about your life. It is how you live. It is the person you are. There are a lot of people in the church that try to compartmentalize that stuff. They go in the church on Sunday, do the holy dance, and then for the rest of the week, they live like hell. So they are probably self-deceived and just religious, but not saved. But when it's real, there's no separating the 2. There's no compartmentalization of a faith. It is who you are. And that is what I am coming from, or that is where I am coming from in this video. So let's hop into this and talk about how I am treated by the church. Oh, wait a minute. Before we do that, I think I need to define some terms here. When I say the church, I'm not talking about Roman Catholicism, okay? Because I'm not Roman Catholic. I'm a Protestant all day, every day, and will be until I die. So, it's not what you see in Hollywood or what you've seen on television. And y'all need to get off of that stuff, because that stuff ain't nowhere near what it actually is like. But when you say the term church, okay, people have all kind of different definitions in terms of what comes up in their heads. So I have to define the term. When I say church, I mean the people of God, the true followers of Jesus Christ throughout the world, the universal eternal family of God. Those are my people. Now, there's a whole lot of people who gather with a church who are not God's people. So let me just lay that there and keep going. When I say church in this video, I'm talking about the universal people of God who follow the Lord Jesus Christ with all their heart, mind, soul, and strength, who look at the Bible as their basic instructions before leaving earth and look at it as the infallible and inerrant word of God. And their whole lives are structured around following the words of God in that book. That's what I'm talking about. So when I say my people, I ain't talking about people who got the same shade as me, okay? That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. Nothing to do with nothing, okay? Just because you got the same shade or similar shade skin tone as me, that doesn't mean that we're each other's people at all. We're not even of the same race.
What?
Now, I know I probably just lost some of you guys, but that's theological, and I'm not going to get too much into that, so I'm just going to move on. But I just need for you to know that when I say church and when I say my people, that is who I am talking about in this video. So let's move on, and let me tell you my experience in terms of how my people treat me as a brother in the Lord who plays tabletop RPGs. Generally, I get 3 different kinds of reactions or responses when I start talking about tabletop RPGs, or that I play tabletop RPGs, from my people, the church. The first one, more than any other one, the first one is ignorance. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I meet with a pastor's group every Monday, and we sit and we talk about what's going on in our congregations and just in Christendom in general. We pray. It's a great time. I've been meeting for years. Well, the first time I brought up that, this is what I do, play tabletop RPGs, got a YouTube channel, blah, 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 blah. They had no idea. It's only a handful of us, but they were clueless. Now, both of them are older than me, not much, but they are older than I am. But they didn't know nothing about nothing, right? So they had no idea. And for most people, they fall into that category. They say, what now? That basically is their response. It's not only them though, but I think that's the general reaction of people who, they don't know nothing about nothing when it comes to that stuff. It's not that like tabletop RPGs is like widespread and that everybody knows it. Nah, that ain't it. So you have to do some explaining. You have to do a little bit of evangelism in that regard, in terms of, oh yeah, this is an opportunity for me to describe this and ask them if they want to join in, that kind of thing. So, but on the whole, they don't know nothing about nothing. They're ignorant. But second, they're disquieted. They're kind of like, that weird nerdy stuff, right? Now, I'm totally comfortable in my nerdiness. Oh, it ain't nothing but a thing for me. But for some people, they don't say anything to other people because they, people be looking at them sideways like, what you doing playing that stuff? Aren't you grown? Didn't you grow out of that? Now, how the look that I get is like, man, aren't you supposed to be a Christian, man? What's going on with that? This is serious stuff. What are you doing with that school children stuff? It's just generally how they look at it. And that's because of the first one, ignorance. So they're a little disquieted by the whole thing. Again, I have to explain things, explain what it is and all the rest of that so that they would know. And, like I said, I'm totally comfortable in my nerdiness. So since I'm comfortable in my nerdiness, they don't say it out loud, but I can see them looking at me sideways, and y'all know what I'm talking about. And I don't have a problem with that because that's what ignorance does. But then there's the third reaction, which is alarm. I mean, you say tabletop RPGs, only one game comes to mind, and this is the game that I refuse to mention by name on this channel. And because you mention that, then they're like, oh, well, that must be unholy. That must be immoral. And they just pretty much throw the baby out with the bathwater and take all tabletop RPGs and throw them right in together. And I'm like thinking to myself, what? Now, I will say this, which I will have a totally separate video on this. There are games that I refuse to play, and I'll never play them because of the content in them, ever. But listen, y'all, do you know how many tabletop RPGs there are out there? This is ridiculous. And so again, they're alarmed because of ignorance. Ignorance. Now, some of them go overboard, right? Oh, that's satanic. And just to be clear, there are some games that are satanic. So let me just put that out there.
What did he say?
But they're just saying that anything that has to do with tabletop RPGs, and these are people who are, even though they're my people, again, have you ever had that crazy uncle that you're like, man, you're related to me? They're still my people though. I'll never throw my people under the bus, but I'll put them on blast. Always do. I love them. They are my people though, right? It's kind of like I'm married to my wife and I can say stuff to my wife you can't. Okay, so don't say nothing about my wife. It's the same thing about you saying disparaging remarks about Christians on this channel. Don't do it. Don't do it. So overall, that's the general responses I get. They either get ignorance or they're disquieted or they're alarmed. Now, why do I get these responses? But in our next video in this series, I'm going to talk about why my family responds that way. Now, the ignorance one's going to be simple, but it's the other two that I'm really going to go in on the next video in this series. Well, if you got any value out of this video, or maybe you learned something that you didn't know before, hey, can you do a brother solid and give him just a little bit of YouTube algorithm love and crush the like button for me? Also, if you want to stick around, which is the opposite of what a lot of people did in the video in this series, and you want to at least hear it out for a little bit, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Our question of the vid today has to do with your encounters with Christians talking about tabletop RPGs. This is whether or not you are a Christian or whether you are not a Christian. When you are trying to talk about this particular subject to those who are outside, who are in the church, now use church in the same way that I used it because that is what it means. When you are talking to those people, what's the general response that you get? And if you would like to go ahead and say, hey, well, I'm a Christian and such, then put that in the comments, or I'm not a Christian and this is my reaction. Okay, go ahead and do that. But I'd be interested to know your encounters and what you encounter when you talk about tabletop RPGs with others, and how do you handle it? Now that's important. How do you handle it? Let me know down in the comments below. That's it for me, folks. That will do it. I'm going to do my snaggle us.
So exit, stage left.
Yeah, if you got a tabletop RPG session this week, then happy gaming, y'all. I hope it is a fantastic RPG Elite session. If you missed the last video, here it is. Go ahead, take a look at it if you dare. It's really nothing, to be quite honest. I'm just saying that. But if you want to, if you get in at the very beginning, here it is. Other than that, folks, I'm gonna get out of here. Your brother has got to make more videos. So peace, 5,000 elites. I am outie.